Bernie Preston, they're going to are you going to play the overture? Yeah. Right from the beginning of the overture. All right.
That was the line up.
You're all invited to run the run and get some fun running off your chain. It's a party, be like it.
You rock and rolling.
I'll let your hair down and hit the ceiling. Let that happy feeling overflow. It's a party, let yourself go.
Let your hair down and go, go, go.
If you're tired, are squeezing you, or if your shoes are tied, we'll have a tough time pleasing you. But honey, bring them on, stick them on. Right here and now, I'll request pleasure, come and enjoy your leisure, one and all. Make yourselves comfortable. Let's all get sociable and beautiful.
You've got to give a minute.
Affable.
Before to get a minute.
Lovable.
Gotta cooperate.
Lovable.
If we're gonna operate.
This is the party. Yeah. And then I give you a cue, sort of nod. I'll go. Somebody went. I'll go my way by myself. Perfect tempo. This is the end of romance. I'll go my way by myself. Love is only a dance. I'll try to apply myself and teach my heart how to sing. I'll go my way by myself, like a bird on a wing. Why are you so mean to me? Why must you be mean to me? Gee, honey, it seems to me you love to see me crying. I want pink spots. right. For the whole thing, anytime I'm on, I want pink spot. Singing the blues and crying. You treat me coldly. Each day of the year, you always scold me. The only time you use a plain white spot is a pin spot on the over the rainbow, and you use a darker pink on me for the man that got away. I'm so wild about you. Tell them to don't forget to iris out on my face if they can at the end of rainbow. Treat me coldly each day of the year. You always scold me whenever somebody is near. Dear, it must be nice and strong now. You, in spite of all the mean things that you do. Why are you so mean, mean to me? After you've gone, let me cry. After you've gone, there's nothing left. You feel blue, you feel sad. You miss the bestest pal you ever had. There'll come a time. No, don't forget it. There'll come a time when you regret it. Oh, baby, think what you're doing. I'm gonna haunt you so, gonna touch you so, try to do.
This is a Judy Garland rehearsal at the Riviera Theater in Detroit.
Okay, boys first. You've got to get ready, babe. You've got to get ready and be there for the entrance.
Ready? Remember this note? I might out on the stage.
Yeah. Look, on this number, you're right.
The boys are tap dancing. They're kind of on their own. They're taking a break. Judy is backstage giving instructions. There goes one drop, gray one behind. You can hear the boys.
Part of the boys' number. He knows. Jack, look from where, Jack? Transition, fellas.
sorry, I was...
Judy, because they don't take it off of the suit.
Would you blank out on Bert and on Jimmy faster? No, not soon enough. You left it on too long. You didn't give yourself time enough to change. I'll give you the cue. You do it. I'll finish it. Just try for the second. All right, lights up to the end of your interlude.
From the end of the interlude, right below.
Have you any reds in those trees? The reds in the trees might look good to man, or should they go? Yeah, no. Leave it all blue. Okay, go ahead, right from there. And I'll give you the cue when to take 2 spots out. Okay.
Has run off and undone you. That great beginning has seen a final ending. Don't know what happened. It's all a great every trick of his, you're all too. All fools will be fools, and where's he gone to? The road gets rough.
Yes, you dim out, you iris out at the end of that number. Well, wait a minute. Everything goes out. As I turn, everything goes out. Borders, the foots, and everything. No, they can close it. Yeah, they can close it while I'm talking. Now, have you got that? I do this, oh wow, that's a fast one. Very, very slow. Just as I do that, and everything doesn't have to be that slow. Oh boy, does it have to click off like that? It can't iris out to nothing. Just iris out to nothing. Let's ask the foot to the balconies until the end of the number. Okay, let's go. You ready for the booth? Okay. Rock-a-bye, your baby, with the Dixie melody. When you... Thank you. That's just what I'm going to sing tonight. What is it? Sorry.
It's kind of fun sitting here at rehearsal watching Judy Garland, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I'm her coach, her vocal coach. I flew up from Hollywood to be here with her for the opening and possibly to stay all the way through.
I didn't know that Judy ever took a singing lesson.
Well, as a matter of fact, she never did until she called me in to help her when she was having some vocal trouble some time ago. And since then, we've been, well, pretty inseparable.
What? She looks awful cute up there on the stage, doesn't she?
She's one of the most beautiful girls. She's doesn't believe it herself, but everyone else does.
Yeah, why is that? Just why? How can someone that talented and beautiful and sensational not believe in herself?
That's one of the strange things about Judy. She's a very humble person, and she's easy to work with. She's extremely intelligent and quick, and she thinks everybody else is wonderful but herself. It's hard to understand because we realize that she's one of the biggest figures in show business, and one of the most beloved.
Does she know how much people love her?
I sometimes wonder, and yet I think she can't help but know, because everywhere she goes, she's the subject of conversations, and everybody loves her, and she never seems to be anywhere where she doesn't have a host of friends, either in Hollywood or here. She's the talk of Hollywood, everything Judy does.
Judy, I spoke to before, and she kind of swears by you. She said before she had vocal lessons from you that she had to miss so many performances.
That's right. This is the first time she's ever sung a continuous 3 weeks engagement at Vegas without taking 2 to 3 nights off. And this time she finished, her last performance was much better even than the first.
Well, what do you do? What do you do to a voice to make it last so it doesn't get laryngitis?
Well, it's partly a matter of the state of mind you keep her in too, as well as the state of voice. The voice condition depends on how she feels, if she's at peace and at rest, and if she's relaxed and singing easily, because Judy doesn't need much vocal instruction. It's just very little, a tip here and a tip there. She knows more than she admits about it.
She seems to know all about show business. I've been watching her tell the lighting men exactly what kind of lights to use, and I watch her tell. She knows every instrument. She doesn't play them, but she certainly can tell them how to be played, can't she?
That's right, she can. She's a very competent showman. She could produce as well as act. And she could direct. She knows every facet of show business.
Well, how do you keep her in a state of mind so that she can sing every performance?
Well, we watch her diet for one thing.
For instance?
Largely proteins, eliminating a lot of sweets and sugars and starches, the same as we all should do.
Well, she should get very thin from that.
She's getting thin. She's lost weight. She looks much better. And she's a beautiful girl anyway, but she looks better slender, as we all do.
Well, why would that have something to do with the voice? You mean emotionally it bothers her to be heavy?
Well, yes, it does. And then starches and sweets have a tendency to create mucus in the throat and nasal passages and pharynx.
Now I know why I can't sing. I like candy.
Well, you can eat a bar of candy and be a little choked up within a few minutes. Anyone can, really. People who don't sing don't notice it, but singers do. That's one side. The other thing is to get her to rest between shows. She's so popular that the minute she steps out in public, everybody gathers around her, and she's inclined to overdo. And
she likes to stay up late nights too, doesn't she? She hates to go to bed.
That's right. And so I try to get her to bed early, and then to, as I say, coupled with the right diet, to get rest, and then I get her to sing with all possible freedom in her throat, neck, shoulders, tongue, and jaw.
Well, how many lessons does she take a day?
Oh, we sometimes work 2.5 hours, or even 3 hours a day, and then I work with her between shows when she's at Vegas.
You don't think this is a passing phase with her? She's going to say, I don't want lessons.
Well, I thought it might be, because it's quite a grind. But she gets more and more interested all the time. She finds it the most thrilling experience of her life, she tells me.
Well, it must be wonderful after having had to miss so many performances to be able to go on like this.
Oh, yes. That in itself relieves her of a great deal of pressure and makes the whole business of singing for her vastly easier.
Back in Hollywood, do you go to her house or does she come to your studio?
Well, it depends. She lives in Bel Air and I live in Sherman Oaks, just over the hill from her.
Oh,
sometimes
over a mountain.
A very easy one to traverse if you have a good Cadillac. And so sometimes I go by her house, sometimes she comes to my studio, which is at Hollywood and Vine.
Do you have other famous people?
Yes, Liberace. And
well, how can you compare Liberace with Judy, except that he is singing better?
Yes, I'll tell you, that's like comparing the moon to the sun. They're both great things, and they're both different things.
They sure are different.
Yeah, yes, indeed they are. And I have the high-lows, too, you perhaps know,
they're
the quartet.
Wonderful, yeah.
Aren't they wonderful?
Sure.
And I had Susan Ball before she passed away. She was a wonderful, charming person. And Miss Terry Moore, I taught her.
Well, I notice here at rehearsal that Judy would sing a number and you would kind of go up and speak to her, or Judy would just sit in the audience and talk here, to people around her, and you would go up and whisper something to her? What would you whisper to her?
Well, that always had something definite to do with what she was doing at the time. Maybe it might have had something to do with the approach to an upper tone in a phrase. And
You mean as she was calling out orders, let's say, or directions to the light men, you would tell her?
Something that had occurred to me about what she had been doing just ahead of that, or was about to do.
Not anything that, in other words, not the way she used her tone over the mic to the light men.
Not necessarily, though I did tell her the other day, which is entirely true, that she was beginning to speak so beautifully that it sounded like singing when she spoke, even to the light man.
She is in fabulous voice, she really is.
Yes, Judy, you may not realize it, but Judy has one of the great voices of this age. It would be good for opera or anything she wanted to do. It's a big voice.
Not really for opera.
Yes, if she wanted to. It's a fabulous voice. It's people don't realize. I myself was an opera singer. I've sung roles like Valentine and Faust and Germont and Traviata and Silvio and Pagliacci. And then
wouldn't it be amazing if she ended her career in opera?
She could well do it if she wanted to. Judy could do it.
I think Judy Garland can do anything she wants to.
I agree with you.
Personally, I'm thrilled to be here watching her rehearse and talking to her every once in a while when she gets off the stage, so it must be a great thrill for you to be with her all the time.
That's right. I can understand how you'd be thrilled and how the whole public is thrilled every time they contact Judy. And I do have a wonderful thrill, the greatest possible satisfaction.
Better than Liberace?
Well, I'm afraid so.
I won't tell Lee. Well, thank you very, very much, sir, and you've been very kind to let us talk with you today. And this is Shirley Eder, having just spoken with Judy Garland's vocal coach, returning us to Radio Central.